Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Indian Energy Exchange Q1 FY24 results call hosted by Axis Capital Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Sumit Kishore from Axis Capital. Thank you and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Yusuf. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Axis Capital, I'm pleased to welcome you all for the IEX Q1 FY24 earnings conference call. We have with us the management team of IEX, which is represented by Mr. S.N. Goel, Chairman and Managing Director, and the rest of his team members. We will begin with the opening remarks from Goel sir, followed by an interactive Q&A session. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, friends. Dear all, I welcome you all to the IEX earnings call for Q1 of FY24. With me today on this call are Mr. Rohit Bajaj, our Executive Director, Business Development and Strategy, Mr. Vineet Harlalka, our CFO and Company Secretary, Mr. Amit Kumar, our Head of Market Operations and Product Development, Mr. Parnath Garg, Head of Investor Relations and Communication, and Mr. Aditya Wali. Friends, the Indian economy has sustained its growth momentum gathered over the past 2 years. According to the Economic Survey 22-23, India's baseline GDP growth is projected to be 6.5% in real terms for the fiscal year 24. Strengthening its position as the fastest growing major economy in the world. This sustained momentum can be attributed to improved private consumption, revival of rural demand, and increased manufacturing as input cost pressures ease. India's average manufacturing purchase PMI was 57.9% in Q1 24, higher by 6.8% compared with the same quarter last fiscal. The RBI expects investment activity to further improve, drawing strength from the thrust on capital expenditure in public spending and further moderation in commodity prices. Backed by strong demand, India's average services PMI was at robust 60.6 during the quarter, compared with 56.9 in Q1 of 22. The index has remained above 50 for nearly 2 years, the longest stretch since August 2011. India's G20 presidency has highlighted its significant sustainable energy imperatives. The country today is fourth largest renewable energy generator and in the world. Further, according to a recent statement released by the government, an additional 120 gigawatt of fresh renewable energy capacity is at the various stage of implementation. With its commitment to accelerate India's sustainable energy transition, IEX is well positioned to leverage opportunities in the power sector through its green market products, certificates and other businesses. On the power sector update, electricity consumption in India for Q1 FY24 stood at 408 PU, a marginal growth of 1.8% year-on-year basis. Ambient temperature kept the demand for power lower than the anticipated height. Peak demand nevertheless reached 223 gigawatt in June 2023, lower than projected value of 229 gigawatt for the summer months, but higher than the maximum peak of 207 gigawatt which was recorded in April 2022. Installed capacity in India reached 422 gigawatt as on 30th June 2023, while installed capacity for renewable grew to 177 gigawatt. India is on track to attain its target of achieving 50% of energy consumption from non-fossil fuel sources by 2030. The proactive measures undertaken by the Government of India, along with cooler than expected weather conditions, ensured adequate power supply and lower prices during the summer season. On the fuel side, India's coal production increased by robust 8.6% year-on-year and reached 223.4 million tons in Q1 of FY24. e-auction coal premium has witnessed a declining trend since Q1 FY24. The premium declined to 78% in May 23 from 137% in April 23 and 425% in May 22. And premium in the recent auction has been down to almost about 50% now. The average imported coal price for 4200 JR coal during June was $54 per ton, lower by 37% over June 22. The LNG price has come down to almost about $12.1 per MMBTU, a drop of 46% over Q1 of 2022. Average coal inventory is almost like 14 days now during Q1 of FY24, which is higher over the 9 days which was there in Q1 of FY23. This improved supply side scenario, coupled with consistently declining imported coal and gas prices, resulted in increased sell liquidity and falling price on the exchange platform. The average market clearing price in the DAM market during Q1 was 5.7 rupees per unit, a decline of nearly 34% on year-on-year basis. Recently, in the month of July, the monsoon rains, DAM prices eased further to 4.69, which is 33% lower than over July of 2022. With supply side constraints expected to ease further and cooler weather conditions, volume on the exchange are expected to increase. Now we have regulatory and policy updates. In May 2023, a group constituted by Ministry of Power has submitted the report and proposed key recommendations for development of electricity market in India. Power markets have been identified to play an institutional role in accelerating India's energy transition by enabling smooth integration of renewable energy into the grid. Some key recommendations of the group include mandating renewable energy resources to participate in the market and additional RE capacity to be developed through the contract for difference mechanism. These will facilitate faster addition of RE capacity and spur investment in the sector, thus helping attain India's 2030 RE targets. To increase RE participation in the market, a pilot mechanism has been proposed for implementation within a year. An initial capacity of 1000 megawatt will be tendered by the nodal agency under the CFD model with a 15 years PPA 10 years. Further, almost about 5000 megawatt of RE capacity is also being targeted for development under this concept. The CFD model will help further deepen the market by providing certainty to generators by guaranteeing the fixed price over the PPA period. We are confident that implementation of this roadmap will fast-track India's energy transition goals through an efficient, optimal and reliable market framework. Some important regulatory initiatives undertaken by the power sector during this quarter are as follows. The CERC has issued the Indian Grid Code Regulations 2023. It proposes to bring about many changes. Generators would now be allowed to meet their commitment in case of unit shutdown or force outage by procuring power through the exchanges. Generator would also be able to sell URS power in the day-ahead market of power exchanges without consent of buyers. This regulation is likely to be implemented from October 2023. Along with Grid Code, new transmission charge sharing regulation also will get implemented, which will remove anomaly in transmission charge between collective and bilateral transactions and will facilitate movement of volumes in the DAM market. The Ministry of Power has notified much awaited carbon credit market scheme, approving the formation of India's first domestic regulated carbon market. It also necessitates the formation of National Steering Committee to govern and oversee the functioning of the Indian carbon market. According to guidelines, trading of carbon credits will take place shortly to the exchanges. This notification does not include voluntary carbon trading. Through our wholly owned subsidiary IEX, we will be able to leverage the opportunities in the voluntary carbon space. In April 2023, CERC issued an order to align the DSM rates with other segments to avoid any possible arbitrage among them. The Treasury Reserve Ancillary Services Market and the DSM are now market linked. Participants will now be incentivized to utilize power markets before any unscheduled interchange with the grid. Final guidelines for resource adequacy planning were issued by the CA to enable adequate generation capacity to meet the projected demand while maintaining necessary reserves. Resource adequacy creates the basis for capacity contracting and can lead to capacity markets for optimal contracting, long-term as well as short-term. It will also help ensure security of supply and increase liquidity in the market. Amendments were made in the electricity rules 2020 to introduce time of the day tariff and simplify smart metering rules. These are expected to help in demand management by shifting demand when supply is available. The long pending order of CRC retaining the transaction fees to 2 paisa per kilowatt hour on either side, which came in April 2023. This is a positive development for IEX. In May, the Ministry of Power shared a letter with CRC to look into the market coupling for the Indian power sector. We are confident that all aspects such as objective of the coupling need in the current market framework will be examined by the Honorable Regulator before undertaking the next step. The current market operations of IEX would continue undisrupted. This year, we achieved another significant milestone for the company. IEX, India's premier energy exchange, completed 15 years of operation in June. IEX was incepted with an aim to provide a platform to access electricity in India in the most competitive, transparent, flexible and reliable manner. From trading 2 billion units of electricity volume in FY2009 to about 100 billion units annually at present, IEX has indeed come a long way. We have cumulatively traded about 700 billion units across all market segments with a 30% CAGR since inception. With technology and innovation at its core, IEX has been at the forefront of introducing new products and market segments aligned to India's economic and decarbonization targets. Now, update on IEX. Coming back to the highlights of this quarter, IEX added new products and offerings in its continued endeavor to deepen the power market of the country. In June, we launched the IEX Academy to create a pool of skilled professionals for capacity building in the power market. Customized certification courses will be offered to develop skills and expertise in electricity markets across aspects such as power sector policies, regulatory framework, and power exchange operations. The courses are designed based on the in-house experience of IEX and in collaboration with academic institutions and think tanks. Further, we have also launched IEX Power Price Index, PowerX, to provide competitive benchmark signals and enable market participants to make more effective decisions. PowerX, which is India's first electricity price index, is calculated based on weighted average price of day-ahead market and real-time market. In line with our aim to provide seamless experience to our customers, we launched the web-based platform Energix. This web-based bidding for all IEX. This platform will now provide web-based bidding for all IEX electricity segments and will provide ease and secure anytime, anywhere access, automated bidding through API, market data insights, and easy financial reconciliation. IEX also commenced tertiary reserve ancillary services trash market segments from delivery from 1st of June 2023 for the day-ahead market ancillary services and real-time market ancillary services. In terms of business performance, IEX achieved 25.1 billion units across all segments during Q1 of FY24, growing almost 8% on year-on-year basis. During the quarter, DAN segment registered 12.5 BU volume, 11% increase on year-on-year basis due to lower prices. The RTM segment registered volume of 7.3 BU during Q1, increasing 16% over Q1 of last year, underscoring its relevance and acceptance among distribution utilities and industries to efficiently balance their power demand supply position. IEX update. IEX traded a total volume of 42.6 lakhs MMBTU during quarter 1 of FY24, a decline of 9% over the same quarter last fiscal. This was largely due to higher gas availability under the long-term contracts and increased domestic gas supply sold on medium-term basis. The profitability of IGX for quarter 1 FY24 increased to 3.43 crores from 1.15 crores in quarter 1 of FY23. Let us now summarize the financial performance of the company in this quarter. On a consolidated basis, the revenue for quarter 1 FY24 increased 12.3% on year-on-year basis to 127.4 crores from rupees 113.4 crores in quarter 1 of FY23. Consolidated PAT during the quarter 1 was 75.8 crores, grew 9.7% on a year-on-year basis from 69.1 crores in quarter 1 of FY23. With gradual improvement in domestic production of coal and improvement in coal inventory, we expect rationalization of power prices on the exchange and volumes to improve further. The CEA's draft plan projects electricity demand in India to grow at a average rate of almost about 6% up to FY23, 2030. This is expected to result in an annual increase in power consumption of more than 100 billion units. Such a scenario presents us with major opportunities to contribute to the ongoing transition in India's energy sector. IEX will continue to introduce innovative products and market segments to strengthen its existing product portfolio. We are exploring options to extend the term market contract from 90 days to 1 year to provide better optimization opportunity to discoms. We will continue to work relentlessly with the ministry, regulators, system operators, our partners and clients, and all other stakeholders to accelerate India's sustainable energy transition. Thank you, and now we can have question and answers.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone phone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handset while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Our first question is from the line of Mohit Kumar from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yes. Good evening, sir, and thanks for the opportunity. So my first question is, sir, how does the grid code help us in building volumes at exchanges? And secondly, you just mentioned that the arbitrage between GNA and...
Mohit, I'm not able to hear you. I think there is some disturbance in the voice.
Can you hear me now? Is it better now?
Yes, it is better.
Good evening, sir, and thanks for the opportunity. My first question is, how does the grid code will help us in increasing our volumes? And secondly, you said that the arbitrage between DAC and DAM will go away. Is that regulation finalized, or when do you expect it to be, this to go away?
Yeah. Green market volumes are picking up.
No, so my question on the grid code.
Okay. So what is your question about grid code?
How does the grid code help us in building our volumes?
Yeah. See, CRC has now notified the grid code, and date for implementation of grid code is likely to be notified shortly, but we understand that this will be notified.
Ladies and gentlemen, we lost the connection of the management. Please stay connected while we reconnect the management to the call. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the management line connected. So we have Mr. Mohit Kumar in the question queue for their answer.
Hello. Yeah, Mr. Mohit, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I can hear you.
So grid code is expected to be implemented from 1st of October. That is what we hear, but the date is yet to be notified. As per the new grid code, there are certain changes in that scheduling mechanism. Now, generator will have to give the schedule on day-ahead basis and DC on day-ahead basis, and based on that, all beneficiaries will have to give the schedule on day-ahead basis. And whatever power is, URS power is left, that power now can be sold by generator in the day-ahead market without taking consent of the beneficiary. This is a very, very important new change which has been introduced. Earlier, the consent of the beneficiaries was required. Now it is no more required. And if the power is sold in the day-ahead market, then beneficiary cannot revise the schedule to that an extent. This is one. Second is, in case generator has given schedule and generator has given DC and that has been scheduled by the beneficiary, and during the day, if there is some problem in the generating unit and generation is lower, then generator can make good that generation by purchasing power through the market. This is another important provision which has been made now. Earlier, generators were allowed to purchase power only in the event of outage. Now they can purchase power even in the event when there is a generation is low on account of the technical reason. And these are two important provisions which will, I'm sure, will help exchanges to improve their volumes. And as far as DAC, as far as arbitrage is concerned, the transmission charge sharing regulations were notified last year, but they also will get implemented along with the grid code only. And as per the new transmission charge sharing regulation, sellers are not required to pay any transmission charges. So it is only buyer, and in case of buyer also, if the purchase is within the GNA, no additional charges are to be paid. And if the purchase is beyond the GNA, then only the charges are applicable. And in fact, in case of the day-ahead market and RTM market, the collective transactions, the charges will be calculated on post facto basis after considering their GNA, TGNA, and all transactions scheduled during the day. And thereafter, if there is some TGNA required, that will have to be taken for the beneficiary. So this is a very positive development for the exchanges, at least for the collective transactions.
Understood, sir. My second question is, what is the timeline for launching voluntary carbon credit markets, and when do you expect the mandatory carbon credit market to be functional?
The voluntary carbon market, we are planning to do it within this. We are working on that in the process of developing the software and also analyzing the market opportunity. Hopefully within this financial year we will launch that. Mandatory carbon market, that is something which BEE is working on that. They have now notified the regulations that they will be, how this will be done. But I think detailed procedures, everything is yet to be notified. In fact, for the mandatory market, they will have to identify the sectors where it will be first applied, and also the parameters for compliance of the carbon emissions, and if there is a non-compliance, then what is the treatment of that, who will get certificates and who will have to buy certificates. So all those things are yet to be notified. The only thing is that these carbon credits for the mandatory market will be traded in the existing exchanges, and CRC will be the regulator for that.
Understood, sir. Thank you and best of luck, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vikas Jain from Financial Quotient. Please go ahead.
Hi. Good evening, Mr. Goyal. And thank you so much for having me ask this question. The recent development that happened about the market coupling, and I got an update from IEX management that in the current scenario, the market coupling may not be something which government should be considering due to the market dynamics which operate in one given country. It is something which should be considered between two countries or between multiple countries. So I just wanted to hear your insights furthermore that how IEX future looks like if the market coupling and all is implemented, and what are the chances that the market coupling gets implemented along with NBED, and what are the pros and cons for IEX? I just wanted to hear some insights from you, sir. Thank you.
As I told earlier also, market design is something which the regulator has to decide about. Government-wide, their 2nd June letter has requested CRC to consider market coupling and initiate the process of discussions with the stakeholders. Now, I'm sure CRC will do detailed analysis about the market coupling, whether market coupling in the present market framework is relevant, is it required, what kind of benefits it will bring to the market, to the consumers, and based on that, they will initiate the process, if at all it is required. So it is too early to say for me whether market coupling will be implemented or not implemented. But I'm sure after examining all these things, if there is something which is good for the market, good for the consumers, yes, that will be done. But based on our understanding, in the current scenario, where in India we have voluntary market and the transactions through the exchange is just about 6-7%, there is no case for the market coupling. And we have seen in the other part of the world, market coupling happening in Europe, particularly the market coupling has happened. And there they have done coupling of different markets, different countries, geographical different markets. They have coupled 27 different countries and made one market. And in that market, they are transacting almost about 1,600 billion units of power. They have taken advantage of diversity in the demand and supply of different countries. So there was a reason for doing the market coupling there. In UK, there are 2 exchanges operating, and in both the exchanges, there is no market coupling. So we haven't come across a situation where market coupling of exchanges was done, just for exchanges was done, when the exchanges were operating in the same geography. So I'm sure regulator will look into all these things. So it is too early to say anything beyond that.
Thank you so much. Another thing that I just wanted to understand from you, sir, about our business in IGX and ICX. Any tentative timelines by when our businesses would have a meaningful revenue contribution to overall top line and bottom line, sir?
IGX, last year the business was good. IGX made almost a profit of almost about 28 crore rupees last year. And this year the first quarter was not that good, but I'm sure the business, things will pick up in the subsequent quarters. Month of July has been definitely much better than the first quarter. And but again, in the gas market there is very high volatility at present. World over, the gas supply positions and the prices there is a lot of volatility. And because of that, we are also seeing on the exchange platform, it is very difficult to make any assessment for the next 4 or 5 years. But I am sure about one thing, that gas exchanges, as I have always mentioned, that will definitely do as good as IEX. And if you look at the profit of IEX for the second year and what IEX has done, they are almost similar. So in future also I am expecting IEX to do much better.
Thanks. And we expect a similar kind of EBITDA and margins coming from these businesses.
Yes. IEX, yes. ICX, International Carbon Exchange, we are yet to launch that. And when we launch that and get into the market, then we will see what kind of opportunities are there in that.
Thank you so much for answering my question, sir. I've been a shareholder with IEX since IPO, and I'm a happy shareholder and having vision for next 10 years. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Devesh Agarwal from IIFL Securities. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir, and thank you for the opportunity. Just two questions. First, you did mention multiple drivers which could improve the overall volume growth on the power side. Any target that you have in terms of what could be the full year volume growth in FY24 for us? That is one. And secondly, you talked about ancillary services starting from June for both DAM and RTM. Some more information about them and the likely revenue potential from those new products. Thank you.
Yeah. See, our first quarter volume growth has been almost about 8%. Month of July so far has been very good. I think it's almost about 22% volume growth so far. So I'm expecting that by the end of the year we should have a volume growth of at least about 15%. But then in exchange market it is very difficult to estimate these things. It all depends on the demand and supply and availability of the coal. So if everything goes well, because first quarter you have seen the demand increased only by 1.8%, whereas we were expecting demand increase of almost about 8-9%. So it all depends on these external factors, but we are quite optimistic about the demand, volume growth. And second is volume opportunity because of ancillary market. Ancillary market is basically in an energy deficient country, volume in the ancillary market is not expected to be very high. So the market has been introduced as per the direction of the Regulatory Commission. But so far, there is absolutely no volume in this, no transactions in this market. Because whatever power is available, generators start scheduling it in the energy market only.
Understood, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, before moving to the next question, a reminder to the participant that anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1. Next question is from the line of Nikhil from Bernstein. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. The first question I had, Mr. Goyal, was on the grid code. I think the URS power sale, if allowed, will be a good move for the market. Just wanted to understand A, timelines of this. I think I missed it if it was discussed in the call earlier. And B, whether it will require any changes to existing PPAs or even without that it can be done.
Timeline for implementation of grid code, as I told you, we are hearing that it may get implemented from 1st of October. But no timeline has been notified so far. Because NLDC has to finalize some procedures and they have to do some software tweaking. They are working on that. So based on that, our expectation is 1st of October. And for selling URS power through the exchange, no change in the PPA is required. Grid code supersedes all PPAs. The scheduling mechanism indicated in the grid code is supersedes the PPA, and as per that, the generators will be now free to sell URS power on the exchange platform.
Got it. That's helpful, Mr. Goyal. The second question I had was then on the other point you made that after GNA, the contingency market volume will move to collective bids. Just wanted to understand from a competitor standpoint, the competitor exchanges largely operate in the contingency market. So for them, will they be able to sustain, do you think, without something like coupling coming in if even DAC volume moves to DAM/RTM?
See, the point is, today, if you look at 5 years back, day-ahead market was constituting just 95% of the volume transaction through the exchange. Today, day-ahead market is constituting only 50%. So there are lot many new products which have been introduced in the market in the last 2-3 years. We have day-ahead market, we have RTM market, we have day-ahead contingency, we have term-ahead market, we have long duration contract for delivery up to 90 days. Now that also can get extended to delivery up to 1 year. So I think there are many opportunities for the other exchanges to also pick up their volume. So it is up to them. And If you look at the long duration contracts for delivery up to 1 year, the volume transactions happening in the market is something about 40-50 billion units. And that's the market size which is available. So I'm sure if exchanges work, they can get good volume from that market.
Understood, sir. Thank you for answering my questions, and good to see the good volumes in July.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mr. Sumit Kishore from Axis Capital Limited. Please go ahead.
The first one is, assuming that market coupling happens and the exchanges don't discover prices directly, what will the exchanges do? So, what is the incentive for individual exchanges to invest in coming out with new products if everyone is discovering the same price for a given time slot?
You asked a very relevant question, but I have no answer to that. The point is, the role of the exchange has been defined in the PMR. And as per the PMR, exchanges are supposed to do the price discovery. And if they are not doing price discovery, will they be called as exchange or something else? I don't know that. So I'm sure all these aspects will be examined by the regulator before taking the next step.
Sure. The contract for differences are a very promising, step forward for deepening the exchange markets. What is the expectation? How many gigawatts can happen over the next 1 year and the next 2 years?
See, contract for difference is now being considered by the government. One is for the renewable generation capacity addition. If you recall in the earlier earnings call also, we have been always saying that other countries, they have very efficiently used CFD model for renewable capacity addition. UK has added almost about 30 gigawatt of capacity through this, in that cases, in case of Germany and other European countries. So in India also, because otherwise there is a lot of delay in signing the PPAs, thereafter scheduling the power and then getting the payments. So if you do to the market, then all these problems are over. So government is first now considering 1000 megawatt capacity addition through the CFD model, where one of the nodal agency will issue the tender and contract the capacity at a fixed price. Generator will get the fixed price and that capacity will be sold in the market. And whatever is the difference in the price between the market price and the strike price and the PPA, that will have to be taken care by the nodal agencies. The expectation is that nodal agency will be able to in fact make money out of the process. So, and based on the result of the first 1000 megawatt, maybe they will contract additional 4,000 or 5,000 megawatt in the next subsequent years. And this is basically, pilot projects making, showcasing a project for the market so that other developers can also set up capacity for this model. And in fact, the CFD model is also now being considered for ensuring additional generation capacity during the peak hours. If you recall, this year Government of India, they had invited bids for purchasing imported coal-based power during the summer peak, for meeting demand during the summer peak time.
Yes.
And they said that whatever rates are received by them, the generators will be selling the power in the day-ahead market, and difference in the price between the day-ahead market and the price quoted by them will be borne by the government. Similarly, they also contracted gas-based capacities for meeting the peak hour demand. They also, in fact, identified 5,000 megawatt of NTPC and Ratnagiri capacity to be utilized under the peak hours under the CFT model. So, CFT model is now being used extensively for bringing more liquidity in the market, and this is a welcome step. We have been working on this from the last couple of years, and finally we see that yes, it is happening. This year we could not see any benefit of that because by grace of God, month of April and May were very, very cool months, and there was no crisis of power. So these gas-based capacities and imported coal-based capacities under the CFT model were not put to use.
Just one last question. IGX, would it be right to think that, if LNG prices have come off, should there be any correlation in ramp-up of local gas consumption and a pickup in IGX volumes in FY24 versus FY23?
The immediate effect of cooling of gas prices has been, number one, this year domestic gas production has increased. Second is because of the lower gas prices, we have GAIL had some long-term contracts, and under those contracts, because of the high gas price, the gas supplies they were not getting the full gas supplies. And in fact, maybe some of those suppliers were selling their gas in the European market at high price. But now they have started supplying the gas. In fact, the backlog quantity also is getting supplied. So there is enough of gas available under the long-term and medium-term contracts. And that is why the demand in the market is comparatively lower. But going forward, when the gas prices are lower, I am sure the import will increase, and transactions to the market will also happen. So that should be a good thing for the market.
Okay. Thank you, and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Apurva Bahadur from Goldman Sachs. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Sir, wanted to understand what's our right to win in the carbon credit exchange. I believe NSC is also looking to enter this.
See, IEX, we have the experience of running a spot exchange for the last 15 years. We incorporated gas exchange that is also working satisfactorily, efficiently from the last 3 years. So we understand this market. We have good connect with the market participants. We have today more than 7,000 market participants who are registered with us in the power exchange and large number in the gas exchange also. So we have reached with these market participants, and that is our strength. I'm sure with this and our expertise of the operating exchange, we should be able to get a good market share in the carbon market.
And sir, you expect the margins to be as lucrative as the current business?
Carbon market, I think let us first launch it, let us see what the market is, and maybe after 1 or 2 years of that, we will be able to say something about the margin and profits. At the moment, we are in the process of creating a platform and launching the exchange, and then maybe initially for a couple of months we will have to do all promotional activities and see the response of the market thereafter.
Sure, sir. Secondly, I believe you are expecting like 15% type of volume growth year on year. It would be very helpful if you can sort of provide a breakup product-wise.
What?
For this 15% growth, so which segments do you expect?
15% growth is our expectations based on the projected demand and supply position. And again, product-wise, giving breakup is going to be difficult because, it depends on the market conditions. But our day-ahead market and RTM market, definitely these are flagship products, and the large volume growth is going to come from these two segments. And thereafter, even long duration contract volumes are also picking up. So that will be the next. Green market volume is increasing, but not really significant. Definitely the increase is going to be more than 15%, but not significant volume growth.
Sir, why hasn't really the long duration product really picked up? We are still seeing a lot of bilateral transactions, which ideally I think should have shifted to this product. What's holding it back?
Whatever volume we did in last year, we have done the same amount of volume in the first quarter. So the volumes are increasing in the long duration contract volume in that segment. And we are expecting this year more than 5 billion units in the long duration contract segment. And the the shift from the bilateral to the exchange transactions will need some time, for every new product. Market participants they normally try that, see what kind of benefits they are getting from that. Is the price more competitive here, or the payment terms are more competitive in other markets? So they will have to assess all these things and then decide. I think in every market, it happens, the shifting happens gradually.
Fair enough, sir. Thank you so much. I'll get back in the queue. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Bharani Vijay Kumar from Spark Capital. Please go ahead. Yeah. Good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yes, sir. I just want to know what would be the approximate number of participants on a daily basis transacting in the spot and trade and the real-time market. Though we would have many registered participants, what would be like the average number of participants transacting to the trade and real-time market?
Yeah, it's almost about 600-700 on an average per day.
Okay. And any
earlier number of participants used to be very high, but because as far as distribution companies and generators are concerned, their participation is limited. Distribution companies, we have almost about 50 distribution companies, and generators maybe 400-500. But earlier, open access consumers, industrial consumers and commercial consumers, they were participating in a big way when the clearing price used to be low. But from the last 2 years, the clearing prices have increased and the viability for the open access has slightly reduced. That is why their participations have reduced now. And average number these days is something around 600-700.
So total registered participants are close to 1,500. So it is dependent on price. As the price will come down, we will see this number going further up. So these 1,500 are active participants.
So total registered is more than 7,000. Out of that, active are 1,500.
Yeah.
Is that clear? Hello? Hello?
It seems that we have lost the connection from the current participant. We'll move to the next question from the line of Sashak Mantu from Old Bridge Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. So most of my questions have been answered. Just one on account. There is a spike in the other expenses that we see this time around of around 12.6 crores in total. Could you just explain, is there any one-off that we are seeing here, or this is a regular run rate?
If you look at the quarter one numbers, normally what happened, we booked the CSR expenses during the quarter one, which is tune of around 7 crore rupees. And if you look at the quarter one of financial year 20 also was quite high. So this is the one-time expenses of CSR mainly which inflated the number. Going forward, we look at in the range of 5.5 crore during the quarter.
Okay, so you mentioned 7 crores is CSR out of this 12.6.
About, it's rounded off, right, given that. So that is the number and few other one-time expenses. So going forward,
we did 15-year celebration this year because we completed 15 years on 28th of June. We had celebration for that. We had organized an event for the special participants. And then the CSR entire obligation for the full year has been already put in the first quarter itself. So the total amount is about 7.5 crores. This amount will not appear in the subsequent quarters.
Got it. Thank you so much. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Nikhil Abhyankar from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Just to follow up on the earlier question, sir. Should we expect similar levels of other income as well going forward? It is in the quarter-on-quarter it is flat, but YOY it is 50% jump.
Yeah, it is. Hopefully, it will remain same, but it's mainly dependent upon how the RBI look at it. If there is a significant cut from the interest rate by the RBI, it will definitely going to come down. But looking at the current scenario, we hope for this year that it will maintain this rate.
Sure. So, and earlier you mentioned about 1,000 megawatt of RE CFD contracts. So, what should be the expected timeline for it?
I think there are activities happening on that. So nodal agency will have to come out with a tender for purchase of the power. Maybe this year, at least all these activities should be over. That is what we understand.
So the additional 4 to 5 gigawatt will be from next year?
Yeah, this year 1,000 megawatt and next year maybe another 4,000 megawatt.
Okay. And so any progress on other product additions like capacity markets and derivatives?
Capacity market, I mean, CA has come out with a paper for capacity building in the sector and adequate resource planning. I think it is too early to talk about the capacity market because capacity market is going to be mandatory market. A framework will have to be developed for that. So we are also working on that. And derivative market is again, that market will be introduced on the SEBI regulated exchanges. So, but once that is introduced, that will also help the spot market because participants will have the opportunity to help their position. So we are also actively working with the regulator to ensure early start of this derivative market. But it's difficult to say any date on that.
Okay, sir. That's all from my side. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the last question for the day. I would now like to hand over the conference over to the management for the closing comments.
Thank you, friends. I would like to thank each one of you for being part of today's call. During the quarter, we have witnessed a lot of initiatives announced by government and the regulator towards creating a favorable policy and regulatory environment to transform the energy sector. We remain committed in doing our bit towards building a sustainable and efficient energy future. Thank you all.
Thank you. On behalf of Axis Capital Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.
Please subscribe and press the bell icon to never miss another update. Please like, share and comment.